Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pasty-T Perspectives. My name is Isaac Clark, and I am here to showcase Dead Space 2. Are we ready? Oh, okay, we're ready. Yeah, let's go ahead and get in it.
Isaac.
So, everybody, this is Pasty-T Perspectives on Pasty-T Gaming, and Isaac Clark is actually the main character of this game. He is the engineer that was basically, he created this marker, which is this beacon that creates all this havoc, and we're about to see some of the creatures that this havoc has created. But I wanted to showcase this opening scene because this is the first time that you gain, or this is the first time that you gain control of your character, and it kind of just shows the chaos that goes on with this entire game, and how vulnerable you really are. So this creature that's kind of, I don't know, taking over this poor man's body, we will find later, and they're kind of difficult because they like to reanimate corpses into what they're called the necromorphs. But as you'll see, Isaac Clarke is bound in a straitjacket, and he has to escape. So all of these necromorphs that jump out can kill you. As you see, I got hit right there. And basically this part is you have to run to a safe area. But this game is extremely freaky. This is probably one of the best survival horror games out there. And I'll put this up with the likes of, Silent Hill franchise, Resident Evil franchise, just because of how surreal it is. And it's a futuristic, deep space type atmosphere. You have very limited health and ammo at your disposal. As you can see, I'm almost dead. The little blinking indicator on his back is actually the health bar. So it's really cool how a lot of the user interface is right there with you the entire time. We're going to skip to a new scene. So this is Isaac Clarke in a suit. You end up getting suits and different upgrades and stuff while you progress through the game. And his weapon is a plasma cutter. And this is the actual first boss fight that you'll find in the game. And the boss fight's difficult, but there is a way of getting around it. Basically, this will just show mechanics of how the game really pits you up against really tough enemies. Now, what I did there is what's called stasis, and you are given this ability to end up making the enemies slow down or freeze them in a sort of time slow area. Very helpful for fighting tough enemies such as this boss. And realistically, this game is tough. Like, there's not a lot of times that you feel like you're super overpowered for an area. You really have to give yourself a much greater distance between yourself and the enemy than maybe games like Silent Hill or Resident Evil, just because your weapons aren't, state-of-the-art super plasma rifles and all that kind of stuff. They're yeah, the ragdoll physics in this game are pretty interesting too, but as Isaac, you can stomp on enemies, you can punch them with your weapons, you also have the aim kind of thing right there. I use the telekinesis, and you can manipulate movable items, enemies, that kind of stuff to work with your environment. Item boxes. So we're about to jump into the next section, which will showcase some of the other unique things about this game, such as being able to upgrade your suit, your weapons, using power nodes that you find throughout the game. The stasis recharge basically refills your stasis meter, so you can use that multiple times. So right here is a shop. This is where you would be able to download any schematics that you have acquired throughout your exploration. You are also able to purchase items and sell items that you may not need, like the semiconductors. Those are basically just big credit chips that you can sell so that you can have more credits to be able to buy health, ammo, new weapons, new suits, whatever you may come across. And these are spruced throughout the game. Most of the time they're in an area that's near a save point or near a bench that you can upgrade your weapon. So there are a lot of elevators in this game. It's just a real kind of unique way of having a load zone. This game, I feel like, has one of the most diverse sets of enemies The necromorphs, as they're all called, come in various forms. Like that little screaming child you saw, there's ones that run after you with giant manipulatable blade arms. There are little babies that spawn these snake tentacles that come out and they shoot at you. And there's a lot of different enemies, and all of them have a unique way of fighting them. In fact, in this game, headshots are not your primary goal. Your primary goal is dismemberment, because when you take off arms and legs of an enemy, it actually makes them much, much weaker. So right here, this is kind of the way of you tracking your objectives. As you can see, you can cycle between the objective, safe station, bench, and other various kind of like, you know, key items or key points that you would want to find in the game. They also have these little mini games that are your way of hacking through panels so that you can gain access to new areas, whether it be, like in this instance, a elevator that you're trying to get up to progress the game, or it could be a door that you're trying to get into, or the first time you get to stasis, you actually have to hack the panel in order to get that module equipped on your suit. So it's just a very unique way for them to kind of, you know, instead of having like a key that you have to find for a locked door, that would be what you would find.
Unitology recruitment center. Am I still on track?
Yes. There's an old maintenance access point in there that'll take you through the waste disposal system.
So as you can see, the
and
user
into the casino
interface
towers.
really
Stay sharp.
blends into the entire movement that you have. And this is also to showcase some of the really neat environments. Like this game came out in 2011, and it's beautiful. It still looks good today. Alright, so here's some enemies. You see a little child. There was like a monkey type necromorph in the back with a really large arm that would blow up when you hit it. Here's an actual unique way of dying. If you blow up a window, it'll shut this gate, and if you're on the wrong side of it, you die. So here's another area that we get through, and this is, I forget what chapter this is, I think chapter 3 or 4, and there's about 15 chapters in the game. It's a pretty long game, casually. The speed run is about 1 hour and 47 minutes, and obviously they're doing a lot of crazy tactics. But there's more use of the telekinesis, where you can, you know, manipulate movable items to throw. It's helpful in the aspect of some enemies you can grab their claws off their arms, and you can actually shoot them back at other enemies. And if you do a direct hit, that can oftentimes be a one-hit kill. Alright, so Isaac suffers from hallucinations, and as you can see, this one right here is pretty deadly. And so these pop up periodically throughout the game, and by playing Dead Space 1, you would see why he's hallucinating and who that lady is. I'm not going to spoil anything, because this game is really something that I encourage a lot of people to play through if you like the survival horror series. If you don't, then obviously this game wouldn't be for you, because it is really freaky. There's a lot of jump scare type situations. A lot of them are you manipulated an item, or you got to a new area, boom, all of a sudden everything jumps out of the walls and all that kind of stuff. So if you're not happy with that type of gaming atmosphere, then I would not recommend this game. But if you do like a nice thrilling atmosphere for the game, I would definitely recommend this. Alright, so this area, we are in the Unitology little center. It's kind of the newest religion of this area, and we're about to fight some new enemies, and these enemies, I believe they're called chargers, or I don't know, people call them like velociraptors too. Either way, they're pretty tough if you let them kind of get control of the area. As you can see in this particular section, I don't have good control of their grouping, and so they end up taking me out. But I just wanted to showcase here the visuals, the lighting. I mean, this is very Doom-esque as far as like a futuristic type atmosphere with, you know, sci-fi elements, but also like just insane lighting, visual cues, audio cues. It's a beautiful game. I totally recommend it just for the looks of it alone.
Hang on, I'll try to override all the gates in the area.
So, as you can see in here, the enemies are closing in on me, and once the gates drop, that's when they're gonna enter the same area that I'm in now. So I'll sit back and let y'all enjoy this experience. So as you can see, I had full health and 3 hits and I was dead. So here's the bench that I was talking about where you can upgrade your suit, you can upgrade your stasis module, you can upgrade all of your weapons that you have in your inventory, and each of these nodes each of these little portions requires a power node in order to unlock. And so as you progress through the game and get more power nodes, you can actually get a much more capable armament to battle against, all the necromorphs. So it's really neat that you can customize if you have a favorite weapon or if you have a preferred method of using your suit, whether it be you wanted more air in a 0 air situation, or if you wanted more health points because you tend to get hit more like I do. So another neat load zone that they showcase is crawling through these little maintenance tunnels, and you don't ever fight an enemy in these, so it's not like it's a claustrophobic battle, but as you will see coming up, sometimes these do lead to unexpected areas, and then you'll have to deal with, the threats that come with that. More unique areas, more unique design of the stages. As you can see, telekinesis is extremely helpful in order to grab items from further away. This particular area, we're still in the little Scientology church. Or not Scientology, Unitology. I mean, it might be based on Scientology, but either way, Unitology church, and it's just extremely visualistic. They're obviously setting me up for the next set of enemies to fight, because there's a lot of items that we pick up, a lot of ammo. This particular run through is on the survivalist difficulty, which is the kind of the middle ground, maybe closer to the high end, but we're about to fight some enemies. These are the babies that have little tentacles, and if you let them shoot you, they will actually shoot beams from each of those little tentacles that come up. So as you can see, I'm trying to target the limbs as opposed to a traditional headshot, because that does offer a much higher damage output than if you were to just target the head. In fact, some of these enemies, you can shoot their head off and it will not slow them down one bit. And then this area is going to show a lot of combat. We're going to have a somewhat scripted boss fight, and then we will then be faced with many, many, many enemies. So there are several of these particular instances where a large necromorph will decide to, pin us down, attack us, and we have to fight their weak point in order to free ourselves from their grasp. During this time, I feel like the sensitivity of the aiming gets drastically reduced. But we ended up getting ourselves free. And now it spawns a whole bunch of enemies, and you'll kind of see how action-esque the game can be. If you get pinned by an enemy, it'll give you a quick time event. I mean, just look at the amount of enemies that they throw at you right here. And we're not done. But Isaac definitely just wants to say, to hell with all these enemies. yeah, for all of those that are unfamiliar with the series, I would really highly encourage you testing this out. Dead Space 1 is also great. I just feel like Dead Space 2 is a wonderful sequel to the game, and it's good to pick up, even for those of you that may not be familiar with the series. They do have a what happened previously on Dead Space so that you can get caught up with the story. It does give a lot of clues as far as who Isaac Clarke is, who the crazy lady is that you know, try to stab him in the eye with the screwdriver, all that kind of stuff. And I do feel like this is a really good series. And in fact, it was on sale on Steam not that long ago for pretty cheap, like $5 a game, something like that. So for $5, definitely worth the money. But yeah, this is just kind of my perspective on the game. It's a wonderful game. I'm kind of glad that I decided to do this because it made me start playing the game again and just realize how great of a game it is. And so I would highly recommend this to anybody that is a fan of, you know, horror games, survival horror games, action games, or just visualistic, beautiful games. I mean, just look at this area. Doesn't it look great? You got dudes crawling up. I'm gonna punch him after he stabs me a few times. So yeah, if you're new to this channel, I'd appreciate if y'all would go ahead and check out some other videos. Drop a like, drop a subscription, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know if you want me to play this game all the way through. If you do, I will be sure to give it a shot. But that's going to do it for me, and he's dead. So thanks everybody.